You mentioned being a spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Core. Well, you know, I was born an old soul, so I could feel energies, like people's energies. When I was a little kid, my mom had to tell me to not say the things that I was saying to other little kids, because I was asking them questions talking about like their inner self, and I could feel their energy. I could feel some of their thoughts, like, and it's still to this day that has never left, because it's not something you can shut off. I've tried to shut it off because sometimes it sucks, dude. You know what I mean? Being an empath, but either way, so I was always born kind of almost knowing what I was supposed to do, you know, not from like a destiny standpoint, but from like an objective standpoint, like why my soul came here. And so it's been a rough ride, dude, because it's not easy to express that in a world that doesn't understand that. And it's also not easy to find. There's no book. It's not like you come here and your soul's like, oh, here's your book, here's your pamphlet, by the way, your fucking owner's manual, right? You can, so you know what to do. It ain't like that, dude. So you got to figure it out, you know. But and that's the difficulty, because dealing with people and trying to help them, but realizing that they don't always want help. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they just want to be in the situation they're in, and you got to respect that. So anyway, you know, the things that I do with Harmonious CBD is just a part of my process. I'm going to be a public speaker, dude. I've already written books. They just haven't been published, like, because it's not ready yet.
What sort of, I can't even talk today, huh? What sort of books have you been writing about? Like, what topics?
You would consider them like in a self-help category, I suppose. But to me, it's more like a universal truth Bible, you know, just like speaking about truths that we all share that are universal, you know, because opinion is subjective. We can say, oh, this is true, that is true. Science can say this, that, or the other. It's all subjective, right? It's all based on perception and everything. But there are, you know, fixed laws to this universe. Gravity is an example on this planet, right? That is a fairly decent example of something that we all have to share and abide by. Obviously, there are certain restrictions, and then there's ways to overcome those restrictions. But universally, we're all sharing the same energy. And if there's truths to that energy, and if there's certain things that we can learn about to help ourselves become more free, because in this reality, we're confined. We're confined to this body. We're confined to these senses. We're confined to this ego and this mind. But that's not freedom. You know, within confinement, there's not freedom. So if we can learn how to free ourselves, then we can move more freely around the universe and manifest what we want within certain constraints. If we're doing it for the right reason, you're privy to more power if you're doing it for the right reason. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reason, that's going to try and destruct things and take things over, and then nothing would exist. So that has less power. So anyway, I just talk about stuff on a fundamental level for people to understand. Yeah. All that. And then on a deeper level, but put it in context. You know, all the great leaders and masters that have been on this planet, you know, whoever they were, sages, everybody, they're talking the same fucking thing. It's just they're saying it in a different way. But the meaning and the wisdom and the information they're getting is coming from the same source. And they're literally, if they could get together, they go, yeah, we're saying the same exact thing. It's just he's Buddhist, I'm, you know, Jesus Christ, and he's, you know, like Muhammad, or, you know, any of these like that's all they would say. We're just different people from different parts of the world, but we're all speaking the same exact thing. It's just a language that you can't necessarily interpret verbally or intellectually, because we're confined to this. It's something you have to feel. Yeah. And to feel that, you have to feel it from within. So to teach people how to get in tune with that, and things that they can practice to do that, and avenues for them to explore themselves, and just to point them in the right direction, let them know, like, look, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to die, and nobody's coming with you, right? And you were born, and nobody came with you then either. So this is your journey. If you don't start focusing on it, you're gonna have to come back again if you believe in reincarnation, or you're gonna stunt yourself. You know, do you want to be locked up and shackled by this body and this reality, this level of consciousness your whole life, or do you want to be free? So, and that is what a spiritual warrior is. Anybody that attempts to do that stuff, that's aware of that stuff, that wants to help other people do that stuff. But the problem is that that's the most difficult thing to do out of everything in the whole universe, from my experience. And
because you got to keep it real with yourself, and it's not that easy.
There's a lot of stuff that you got to break down, dude. Your ego and everything.